Hey, it's Sophia Wren. I'm here to help you to write and create and make progress on your projects, even if you're sensitive or a little different from other people. So that way you can go out and connect to people who really get you and are going to need to see your things that you've created, whether you're a writer, creator, entrepreneur. I'm Sophia Wren, and I'm a Renaissance woman. I've done a little bit of everything. I've put out a song, single, I've put out a book, been in multiple books and magazines, and I've also done a lot of writing for business owners and coaching with writers, creators, and entrepreneurs for the last 9 years. And I just found out something mind-blowing, and I am talking a lot about it because it's really important. And I never before realized that there are some really stark differences between people in the world. And I don't say this because I want to make anybody feel any kind of way, but because I want to give compassion to people who might not have realized that the things that they struggle with are not their fault and are not a personal failing. And that, yeah, it could be that actually things are more difficult for them on their journey to write and create, and especially to share their work with other people. So I've seen this thing over many of my clients, but I just want to share a personal story to kind of give an example to you of what I'm talking about. I'm talking about fear and how fear holds us back from creating, from writing, from putting our stuff out there, and it makes our execution of it more difficult. For instance, I'm a singer. I put out music these days. I've come a really long way in my journey as a singer, but many years ago, I used to love it as a kid, but once I hit my teenage years, I started to become really afraid of negativity from people when I would sing. So I only did it in private, was singing in my car, singing in the shower. And there came a point when I started to really like my voice and feel like it was really good. But in an opportunity to share with other people in a crowd of people, my throat literally closed up and it literally like shut down. And I was afraid because other people have their opinions and my body just would react. It wasn't something mental. It wasn't something that I need to, it wasn't because I was a weaker person. It wasn't because I was any less smart than anybody else. It wasn't because I was any less disciplined than anyone else. It wasn't anything to do with me. It was my physical body. And this is something that a lot of people struggle with, having fears come up, having emotions come up. And we need to understand that this is a chemical reaction, like in your nervous system, in your brain. This is something that is different. Hey there. This is something that is different physiologically. And I just wanted to say that because I think some people have never gone through it, or some people have gone through it and they've just been told by other people that, like, you're basically doing something wrong. And I'm so over it. I'm so over it because I found out recently that people who have ADHD are more likely to be sensitive to rejection. And also, if you've been through traumatic events, you can have similar symptoms to ADHD because it affects the way you can regulate your emotions. It's just harder for you to have like a base steady line of emotions. And that creates a lot of distractions. It creates things in your body that are going to affect you. Oh, thank you so much. And I just, so it comes down to our bodies and that we're human, that some people are more sensitive to things than other people. And right, it's not a personal failing. It's not your fault. So yeah, and I've been really thinking about this lately because I did end up eventually overcoming all of this stuff. I learned different skills to try to help me. And I've always had that passion to keep coming back and back to the things that I care about. So luckily I managed to push through these fears in my life, but I know what it's like. And I'm like a huge advocate for people who maybe have some little fears in there. And it can be super subtle and it can be under the surface. And it can show up as, I don't know if my writing's good enough, or I don't know if this is ready. Or some people just, it can get in our head so much that like it creates like a fog or an overwhelm or a sense of like, I don't know what I'm doing. And then we can't really get that far in the process. So it's just important just to be aware. And it just starts with that, being aware, knowing that like, it's okay. This can be something that is my body trying to communicate to me to keep me safe. and I'm going to do what I need to do to try to get myself to calm down. And that's the biggest thing. It's just, where can we calm down? I once had somebody tell me for my business that I needed to like take more baths. And it seemed like really dumb advice at the time, but now I see how that was just one way I could regulate my nervous system and calm my body down, and then I'm going to think more clearly. So that's one thing. The second thing you can do is try to bring people into your life to practice sharing, but in like a safe way, and one thing that helps is somebody who's been through it, because like I said, like some people have been through this, some people haven't, and people who haven't, they might just be like, buck up, what's your problem, why are you so scared, oh my god, you're such a scaredy cat. If somebody is relaying the message to you that you're somehow like weaker or being dumb or like being too much of something, then that's going to cause more harm than good. And that's going to be yet another thing you need to like recover from, and you don't want that. So having safe spaces where it's okay to share as like a practice ground before you go and share with anybody else has been really, really helpful to me. And to think of it like a range. You don't need to go from 0 to 100. You don't need to like decide, okay, well, I'm struggling with sharing this thing, so I'm going to go put myself into like 100 people as just a way to rip the Band-Aid off. I mean, that's one thing you could do. I think more stretch little by little and get more comfortable and get some confidence and get some safety. It's really just more about making your body know like nothing bad happened, everything is okay. The other thing I wanted to say is just like balance, like I think that for me, it was really important to put my book out, because in a way it was kind of me giving the middle finger to all of those fears of being rejected. And thanks guys for the love. And if you have any experience with this, feel free to leave me a comment or DM sometime. I'm just really into this topic right now and I'm passionate. Anyway, so I made this book. It took me 8 years to finish my book. One of the reasons was because that fear of rejection was coming up so strong. And in writing the book, I really processed a lot of it because I started to accept myself on a deeper level. And I'm not saying that to suggest that anyone going through this fear is lacking in anything, including self-love. I think, again, that's a judgment that people put on this that doesn't need to be there. But just me like coming to see the things that maybe I was fearing being rejected for, and then just giving myself that extra assurance of like, I don't care. I don't care anymore. I really did work on it. And I really did put extra attention into addressing, what is that fear saying? Okay, is that a real fear? Is that not a fear? It's almost like what people do with some of the methodologies of psychology, where you look specifically at your fears and you see, is that logical? Is that not logical? And you take the time to a lot of writing, not only for myself, just for me to read, no one else to read, but I would write letters to the thing that I was working on. In this case, it was my book. So if you have a business, that could also be that. If you're working on some other project, like write to the project, because you are like a custodian of your thing that you're here to bring out into the world. And I really think that if you feel alone in it, it's going to create more of those fears. But if you feel like you're part of a team, if you feel like you're more of a channel, if you feel like you're more of a custodian, where you're bringing something forward into the world that is just, it's a pleasure to do, it's a privilege to do, then it's going to feel like less attached to you personally. And then it's going to be easier for you to take the next step without having an emotional reaction. So I would write to my book and I would get like wisdom from my book. I would tell my book everything I'm freaked out about. And then I would be like, what would my book say? And that kind of helped me to get out of it and to get more in my imagination, getting more in my playful vibes. And that stuff is the cure for fear, is getting into your inspiration, your passion, your fun, your pleasure, anything that feels good, taking breaks, giving yourself space and room and not pressuring yourself too much. Like a lot of the things that I think help people to perform, in some ways kind of increase your anxiety to the point where like you feel like you don't have any other choice to perform. And that's one way to do it. But I think if you're a writer, a creator, or an entrepreneur, and you really want to create something authentic, it's important to try to meet yourself where you are, and not, you can only do things that work for other people for so long until you start to feel like this doesn't fit me, this doesn't work for me, and then you can kind of get stalled out and you can stop making progress anymore. Like what worked before sometimes doesn't work anymore because it really was never for someone like you. And that's where everybody's different. And so the best things are those things that bring you connection to yourself and help you to see, where am I? Am I thirsty? Am I hungry? Am I scared? What can I do to get myself to baseline? And again, get out of the survival and into the creativity mode, and see what you do there. Oh, I'm glad this is helpful, Eleanor. I'm just like gonna see if there's any more things I want to say. Okay, I feel like there's a million things I can say on this topic. And so, like, if this is something that resonates with you, just keep an eye on the stuff that I make, because I feel like this is such a huge thing that I've come up with a million different tools to try to stay in that baseline, come back to that baseline, be more creative. That's like everything that I do. And that's why it's amazing that I've just gotten this information that's like putting all these pieces together. So if that's something that is of interest to you, just like look at all of my stuff, because it's like all in this realm. And I have a newsletter where I send out like about once a week emails. And this year I want to do a lot of free workshops and a lot of really good stuff. So make sure that you're signed on to that. If you're not, you can go to sophiawren.com/news and you can get my news. And I want to tell the story of something I realized where I realized it was different. And again, it's not about being better than anybody else. It's just that I put so much time into this. I think because I was having such struggles, that I put a lot of time into figuring out what is going to help this so I can write my book. What is going to help this so I can like sing without my voice closing up, And doing all these tools, I actually started to get really connected to my intuition and started really just being like, the only way for me to live life is for me to listen to my intuition as much as I possibly can. And that means that I had to do some things that my intuition was telling me that really scared the crap out of me. One of those things was making my own song that I got professionally recorded. And this is a big deal because what I realized is that my amazing musician on like 10 instruments. And unfortunately, he just suddenly passed away last year. And so he lived his life to 57 with such incredible talent. I could say, wow, like there were like 50 other musicians that I spoke to after he passed that were like, he is just unparalleled, And it's sad to me that he never got to professionally record something. And I don't think it's for any lack of talent or skill. Like, it's not, but it's just to say that this is something that people struggle with to share what they have, and I don't want that to happen to anybody else. So I'm sorry I'm getting emotional, but that just, like, lit a fire under me that, like, I've found something that helps me, and I think I can help other people too, and so this is why I'm everybody's able to do it. And if it's something important to you to share, if it's a gift that you have that you want to see in the world, like somebody can help. You don't have to do it alone. There's some things that could help possibly to make it more easy for you. And again, it's not about like eliminating fear completely. It's not about overcoming some kind of personal lack, because it's not what it's about. It's just about creating structural support and consistent habits and things, all sorts of other things that can help you to regulate your emotions. So that way you can get through the fear and get to the other side and then have your thing. And then you'll be like, I didn't die. And it will be easier from then out. It won't be totally gone, but it'll be easier. So that's why I'm so passionate about this. And I'm going to do another live on Wednesday. And I'm going to do this live same time. And that specifically is going to be on like selling your stuff if you're an entrepreneur, because that's like a whole nother conversation. So again, I'm still open for questions or dialogue if you want to tell me stuff that you want me to talk about next time. But this time was mostly about sharing it because, like, I really do think there's a lot of people who have really cool skills and talents, but maybe struggle with some of the stuff I've struggled with. So, with some of the stuff my dad struggled with, because I'm sure that's totally different. I don't even know all of what that was. But we all have our struggles, and sometimes they're different than other people are. And it is through no fault of our own that we have trouble sharing stuff. So I just want you to take that away and know, if you ever had any trouble or resistance or inconsistency about it, it is so not a personal fault of yours. It's just a matter of, like, okay, what do I need to where I am, if I can accept that this is something I struggle with, what do I need to go forward? Oh, thank you, Beth. You guys are so awesome. I'm definitely going to come in and, like, probably say more in the comments after this is done. But yeah, I want everyone to know you can join my email list for free workshops and things. Follow all my stuff if this is something that resonates with you, because I'm going to keep talking about this sort of thing, keep sharing what works for me and for people that I'm connecting with. And it might not all work for you too, but it can give you some ideas. And I also do one-on-one support too. I have a home study course. I have things in the range of like $10 to like $1,000 a month. So I have like a huge range of things because I'm really here to help as many people as I can. And so if you do need any support, send me a note, send me a DM, go to my website and contact me, so that way I can help in some form or fashion or put you in the right direction. And I love you guys. Thank you so much for popping in. And I am sending my love, and I want to see you keep going, and just don't ever give up. Okay? Don't ever give up. Even if there's fear, it's okay if it stalls you, if it takes longer, but like eventually you can do it. You know, you can do it. So sending you guys love. Thank you again for watching. Big hugs.